Mark McGowan is an Australian Labor Party politician who has been Premier of Western Australia since the 17th of March 2017. Born in Newcastle, New South Wales, McGowan attended Casino Public School and Casino High School. McGowan then went to the University of Queensland and worked as a legal officer for the Royal Australian Navy, serving at Naval Base HMAS Stirling, south of Perth. Settling in Western Australia, McGowan was elected as a councillor for the city of Rockingham from 1994 and was later elected to the Western Australian Legislative Assembly at the 1996 election, representing the district of Rockingham. In 2001, he was made Parliamentary Secretary to Premier Jeff Gallop, and later served as a cabinet minister in both the Gallop and Carpenter governments from 2005 to 2008. McGowan was elected as leader of the Labor Party in Western Australia in January 2012, following the resignation of Eric Ripper, and became leader of the opposition in the Legislative Assembly. Although he led Labor to defeat at the 2013 election, he retained his position as leader and embarked upon a listening tour of the state, pledging to restore Labor's credibility with voters. McGowan subsequently grew in popularity and went on to lead Labor to a landslide victory at the 2017 election. He was subsequently appointed the 30th Premier of Western Australia. Throughout 2020, McGowan led the response of Western Australia to the COVID-19 pandemic, during which time he reached a record-breaking approval rating for an Australian Premier of 88%. At the 2021 election, McGowan led his party to the biggest victory achieved by any state party in Australian history, winning 53 out of 59 seats in the Legislative Assembly, the largest majority in the history of Western Australia. McGowan was born into a family of Irish descent in Newcastle, New South Wales, and was educated at public schools in Casino and Coffs Harbour, before obtaining a Bachelor of Arts degree in 1987 and a Bachelor of Laws in 1989 from the University of Queensland. He joined the Australian Labor Party in 1984, stating that he was inspired by the leadership of Prime Minister Bob Hawke. In 1989, he joined the Royal Australian Navy and served at the Naval Base HMAS Stirling, reaching the rank of lieutenant, and was also employed by the Navy as a legal officer. In 1996, he was awarded a commendation for brave conduct for actions he took on service in 1995 for rescuing an unconscious driver from a burning car. In 1994, after settling with his family in Western Australia, McGowan was elected to the City of Rockingham Council, and in 1995 was appointed Deputy Mayor. He was subsequently pre-selected to run for the Western Australian Legislative Assembly in the seat of Rockingham at the 1996 election, following the retirement of long-serving MP Mike Barnett. At the 2001 election, Labor defeated the Liberal National Government. New Premier Jeff Gallop chose to appoint McGowan as his parliamentary secretary. McGowan was also responsible for chairing the state's Anzac Committee, the group managing the Western Australia's 175th anniversary celebrations in 2004, and for chairing the Bali Memorial Steering Committee in January 2005. Following the retirement of federal Labor leader Mark Latham from politics, McGowan was criticised in some quarters for taking unapproved leave to travel to Sydney to lobby for Kim Beazley's return to the federal leadership. Gallop reprimanded McGowan and ordered him to return to Perth. Following Labor's win at the 2005 election, Gallop reshuffled his ministry and promoted McGowan to the role of Minister for Tourism, Racing and Gaming. Later that year, following Gallop's retirement, McGowan was moved to the role of Minister for the Environment by new Premier Alan Carpenter. During his time in the ministry, McGowan introduced major liquor reforms, including the introduction of small bars, created the Department of Environment and Conservation, and provided approval for the Gorgon project. In December 2006, following the resignation of Liljana Ravlich, Carpenter appointed McGowan to replace her as Minister for Education and Training. In this portfolio, McGowan oversaw the replacement of outcomes-based education with syllabus documents, re-established traditional forms of marking and reporting, and launched a renewed effort towards the attraction and retention of teachers. In April 2008, McGowan was criticized by some for referring to ex-Labour MP John D'Orazio as the worst ethnic branch stacker in the history of Labour in Western Australia. Both McGowan and Premier Carpenter apologised for the remarks. McGowan later apologised to anyone who took offence to the remark. The issue returned to the media spotlight when it was revealed that McGowan had had some dealings over fundraising with the controversial politician Brian Burke during the 2005 election. After Labour's defeat at the 2008 election, Alan Carpenter resigned as leader of the Labour Party in Western